process. See, I mean, technology would have resolved all of those sundry matters.
Universal voting, where you can be anywhere, and as far as it's just like using the ATM, like you're saying, you have your one ATM. You go to Sokoto, or you go to Benue, or you are in Lagos, you use it, and money comes out, and so on.
Yeah, but see, the problem is,
how can we use that in voting?
Because the issue is that you have to vote in a particular place where you are registered. And so we have to find a way in which you can vote wherever you are, and the vote will count in your state. Do you understand? Because you see, we're not just the way.
Should it count in your state or count where you registered?
Count where you registered. That's what I meant by.
Sorry, sir. Data processing will solve all that.
Yeah, let me.
I gave you an instance of. I don't want to give them free advert. Okay. I gave you an instance of a particular company. You understand, where when you pay money, and you have different interests in that particular business. Now, through that medium, it takes away everybody's share and
this is
log it on somewhere.
Yes, this is
so
a limited.
But is Nigeria ripe for that universal thing?
This is a limited platform you are using as an example. It talks about financial transaction.
Yes.
Maybe just 2 or 3 parties are involved in sharing. It's much more difficult when it comes to a national election, for instance, whereby, look, we have a constitution that says for you to be elected president, you have to win at least 24 states. You have to score 25% in 24 states plus Abuja, and then win the simple majority in terms of votes. So if you count the votes centrally, because it's just distributed, you're going to have the problem of meeting that threshold. So the point I'm making is, if we have a system that can sort out the votes to different states, the way they are registered, that won't be any problem. But then we also have to look at our own technological evolution. How many people understand this system? Because you are adopting a system that fits the demographics.
Sir, there's a system called contact tracing.
Yes, I know.
You can use it for security. You can use it to also detect viruses and what have you.
No, I'm not
against. In terms of contact tracing, the major thing you need to have is the data. Take, for instance, when Al-Qaeda was blowing everywhere, you have an Al-Qaeda terrorist blow somewhere in South Africa or blow somewhere in Australia. With contact tracing, you can trace it to the root.
I agree with you.
So when you have data, I'm saying data and technology will solve all of those problems.
Yeah. But all right, but in all of this, we still know that, like you mentioned earlier, the voter is the ultimate. He's the one who decides whatever. INEC is working for him, the politicians are working for him. But the average voter, let us assume, the voter in Utonkom, for instance, in Ado local government in Benue State, for instance, who has maybe not seen network, who doesn't have data and who doesn't have access to that. When you have somebody like that, and he's supposed to send in votes electronically, how do you capture somebody like that?
If I'm allowed to come in, Rwanda, I think last month, sent out the satellite. Now that satellite is for educational purpose. Okay. It's to solve this Sunday matter that you're talking about. Okay. We have people who will put boots on the ground, will go to all of these obscure areas, get their data, could be biometrically, you understand, or using the ARIS. Once you build a perfect data, you understand, you keep it. Even if you don't have energy there, you have solar that can power it. You have satellite on the space that zooms in and pick all of this data, and there's a central control in place where these things are put together, and you have your results.
All right, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this. It's time for the news now. Let's go on a break. It's Nigeria Votes, and we have been talking about all of this. At top of the hour, my colleague Kemi will bring the news update, and then we come back to dwell on the collation process from parts of the country. Stay with us on Nigeria Votes on TVC.
Hello. Talk to who? Hello, good morning. Please, can you hear me? Chidebere, good morning, Nene.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, okay, we can hear you too. We can hear you too. I'm sure we'll see you. I can't see you from here. We're linking up with you straight away. Please stand by. Please stand by. My monitor is down, please. Please, this monitor. Hello again, welcome to TVC News. We're still monitoring the collation of results from across the country after Saturday's governorship and National Assembly elections, or House of Assembly elections, I should say. 29 states voted to elect new governors, and elections took place in the 36 states of the country for seats in the various houses of assembly to elect lawmakers in the states. Let's go now to TVC News. Chidebere Ezani. She's at the INEC office in Umuahia, Abia State. Hi, Chidebere. How are things looking from your end as per collation? Has that started? Chidebere, if you can hear me, has the collation started and how are things going?
Headquarters to local government.
Carry on, Chidebere. Carry on, Chidebere.
Coalitions have started. Coalition.
Okay, we'll try to reconnect with Chidebere Ezani in Abia State now for the latest, talking about the collision of results. But nothing is happening in Sokoto State. Let's go on now to Abimbola Agbebi. She's in Oyo State. Abimbola, if you can hear me, it's the day after Saturday's elections and the day after the gruesome killing of a lawmaker in Oyo State. What can you tell us now? All right, we'll try to reconnect with Abimbola on the latest in Oyo State. We go to Sokoto State, where we understand nothing has started yet, talking about the collation of results, as the auditorium expected to be used is still locked up. Officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission are present, though, with security agents at the venue. Representatives of political parties are also present, and movement has been restricted along the Sultan Machido Quranic Institute, the expected venue of the collation. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Imo State has raised an alarm over the disappearance of trained collation officers Chukwuemeka Ezeonu says it delayed the movement of election results from collation centers to the state headquarters of the commission. Our correspondent Saturday Ochea's report is presented from our studios.
Worried by the delay in collating the results of the governorship and State House of Assembly, the resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Imo State, Chukwuemeka Ezeonu, invited journalists early Sunday morning to his office. He talked about issues encountered with the collation officers deployed to the state.
The election ended as scheduled, and the results collation started at the booth level. I regret to say that we could not keep up with the pace of collection of results because we had issues. The first people who were brought to collect the results were dislodged after we felt that things were not going well.
But he told the news conference that the situation has been resolved with the deployment of fresh collation officers to the state.
We had just yesterday to make arrangements for another set of lecturers to collect the results. So by the time we are done with it, it was pretty late, and the deployment became late. And also, given the security report and advice, there were places we could not immediately deploy late last night. We regret the inconvenience we've caused the coppers because some of them who finished much early.
Now that the issue of collation officers has been handled, the resident electoral commissioner is confident that results from various collation centers will start coming in and that results would be announced soon.
And in Nasarawa State, collation of votes began on Saturday in most polling units across the state after the voting process. TVC News' Godwin Agwam reports.
This time, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has achieved a huge free governorship and state assembly voting process as collation commenced across the state.
I'm very happy that I have successfully discharged my civic responsibility of participating in the general election. But what is even more appealing and exciting is the fact that reports reaching me is that the exercise is going on peacefully across the state. And I can see some amount of order as I pass through different wards to my ward here in Lungu Wambai. All things being equal, I expect this election to be free, fair, and credible.
We experience that there is low turnout of people compared to that of presidential election. People turn out very low, but everything was conducted peacefully here. Now, right away, the election is about to round up. So what is going on now? They are counting the ballot paper. So there's no any problem here, actually.
As you can see, there is excitement everywhere. And I must commend this very day because the turn-up, even though the turn-up wasn't too encouraging, but at least the process was smooth.
As collation begins in most polling units across the state, it is hoped that the process will be transparent to all parties. Godwin Agwam, TVC News, Lafia, Nasarawa State.
And major contestants for the governorship and House of Assembly polls in Taraba State have expressed satisfaction with the exercise conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Residents trooped out to elect those to run the affairs of the state for another 4 years. Correspondent Owolabi Adenusi filed in this report.
Collation and counting are ongoing in most polling units across the 16 local government areas of Taraba State. The voting ended after the time scheduled by the Independent National Electoral Commission, but card readers malfunctioned in some places and voting materials were brought late in the hinterlands.
They start the election by 9, as they said, and actually we have a problem of card reader that are faulty.